One of the top searches on Google is what oil do you use for the scalp? What butters are best for the scalp? And I'm here to tell you today. Listen.
I am back! What it do, baby?
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
Now, I want to say in advance that I'm sorry if you've heard me say this before or if you watched this before, but I think it's good. It's a good refresher just in case you have to have this conversation with anybody. But please know that everything that I'm saying right now is coming out of love. This is the human hair shaft. And most of the time when you put oil on the scalp, you think that you're doing something, but this is the sebaceous gland that produces sebum. Sebum is the natural oil, aka wax, that your body produces. It comes out through the hair's follicle and it covers the pore. But most of you have clogged pores because you will not stop putting grease and oils on the scalp, and all you're doing is feeding this natural bacteria. And when you add all of the oil, it gets clogged, it mixes in because the bacteria loves the oil, so they reproduce at a rate that your body cannot even control. And the blackheads and whiteheads that you see that come on the surface of the skin on your face are happening within the hair's follicle. This is why nothing goes on the human scalp unless you are trying to cure an infection. Skin cell turnover is something that happens every 28 days, where every 28 days the skin on your scalp dies off and makes its new way up with new skin cells and more hair. That's how you'll be able to track that growth. But if the follicle is never cleansed out properly, then these things never happen. And when you go in to see a dermatologist, or when you use something like minoxidil, it is made by a scientist meant to cure and kill the infection, but we're stuck on petroleum. This is the train, or one of the trains, that brings petroleum to us. Now, what is petroleum? Petroleum is made of fossil fuel. They take these big old machines and they put them deep within the ocean, right? And then they get this black tar that's at the bottom of the ocean and they put it in this big old machine, and at different temperatures it turns into different things. At one temperature it's the gas that you put in your car, at another temperature is mineral oil, and at another temperature is petroleum, the petroleum that is in all of these different products. Now, we're just talking about what things are. If you still want to do all of these things, my love, you do them. I am completely past that point of my life where I'm trying to force people to do things. But when you just put an oil on the scalp, this is what you think it's doing. That's not what's happening. Okay, this is the human follicle, and you need to clean it because the more full it is, the more it expands, and as it expands, it ejects the hair out. So when you have been co-washing for years, or when you don't really use shampoo, or when you only use sulfate-free shampoo, you damage the follicle. Now, when I talk about the sebaceous gland and the different layers of the scalp and all of these different things, people act like I'm making it up, and I promise you, everything that I'm saying right now, you can take this video into your dermatologist or write some of the things down that I'm saying, and then go ask certain questions to verify the things that I'm saying with your dermatologist, because I work hand in hand with them, and I'm telling you that most of the issues that you're running into can all be avoided. There is absolutely no need for oil, butter, grease, or anything. This is the human follicle, the human pore, and there is sebum creating out of every pore on your scalp, all over your body, every follicle that produces hair. This is what's happening, but you want to put oil on your hair. And so because you put this oil on your hair, you can never receive the benefits of sebum. Sometimes people will say, oh, well, I just put oil on my ends, giving the sebum a chance to get there, or giving the sebum a chance to touch my hair. You're wrong, because sebum is a wax. And you tell me the last time you've seen a wax cut through an oil and then they just mix and blend together with zero effort. It doesn't work like that. A wax is not going to cut through oils and layers of product that you've laid on your hair. Right? And another thing is the fruits and vegetables. Don't get mad at me. This is all about me searching, stuff for a client, and all I see is these recipes of amazing ingredients that you should be eating. But the fruits and vegetables that you see people chopping up right now, you guys are putting them in blenders and putting it in your hair. No, the benefits of olive oil, the benefits of all of these different fruits and vegetables, you get by ingesting them, not putting them in your hair. And just imagine what amazing benefits you could get if you balance your routines on the external with your routines and patterns on the internal. Like avocados, we had this full-fledged avocado craze by your favorite Cardi B, because she's a hair expert. Cardi B, she's a hair growth expert, and everybody followed suit. And then once everybody fell off of that, the latest craze now is oil. Well, everybody wants to use oil. Oils are carriers, yes, but they're made in a lab with a certain percentage. Most of you guys think that a whole bottle is oil, but that's not it. There are different things that you can use to cleanse the scalp. Different things like hydrosols, they're different because they're not blocking the pores and the follicles, and it's a temporary thing. You may use this once or twice out of the week to extend a wash day, but it's not something that you do every day. This is the small amount of oils. Like when people are at home and they're dumping all of this essential oil in bottles, chemists and doctors, scientists are actually using the smallest amount of these different botanicals, especially when you talk about something as potent as an essential oil, or something as nutrient dense and nutrient rich as an oil like olive oil. You know what I mean? These are things that you really have to think about. Oils like this have so many properties. You are absolutely right. They have so many beneficial properties, and we're going to talk about in a split second. Okay, get your snacks. We're going to talk about who they actually help, and stick around. But when it comes to extracts, tinctures, essential oils, you're supposed to use drops of it. You're never supposed to pour it. That's why most of them have a dropper or something that lets it out in small amounts, right? Or all of these videos where you see people mixing herbal powders and things of that nature is going to lead you to the chair of a dermatologist. And when they look at your scalp under a microscope, they see so many follicle disruptions. And this is mainly because of your patterns and routines. But it leads you to a place that you can't fix it with just a hair product, or a cosmetologist, a trichologist, or a research scientist like me won't be able to help. You'll have to go straight to a dermatologist because they can do surgery. They can use a scalpel. I can't use a scalpel. I didn't go to medical school, right? So these are the steps that you are at after you've done all of the things that I tell you not to do. After you've done all of the things that shouldn't happen, then you end up here, and this isn't guaranteed. A lot of times people get follicle transplants, and those follicle transplants don't end up lasting because sometimes the follicle is just too weak. But the majority of the time, people are able to get really, really good results with follicle transplants. So it is an option question, but wouldn't you want to have other patterns and routines that make it so you never have to do this? Now, if you've ever been to a dermatologist and then they have to give you a skin biopsy, they end up looking at the skin in a petri dish, and then they run tests and they look at it under a microscope to determine what bacteria is here, what yeast is in here, and what do we have to do to get rid of it. And then once they do that, of course, when you look under a microscope, you know that there are multiple living organisms, and sometimes they see so many that they're like, oh my God, I can't see a way that this follicle can be repaired. If they're looking under the microscope and then they sit down and they look at the results of their findings and they see a damaged scalp, they see damaged tissues that they don't think they can repair, they just come and they tell you the results, because at the end of the day, the dermatologist's job is to assess your scalp, look into what it is, run tests, and then tell you what you have and give you something to treat it. That's their job, right? So when we're doing different things that your dermatologist has absolutely no idea about, when they're looking at this, all they know looking at it is like, oh my God, this is something really different from what I'm used to seeing. Mind you, all they know is what they're looking at. They're looking at an end result. They have no idea how you got here, right? Because most of the time you don't have this conversation. And I know I may get pushback for this, but I always get people to say, oh, a dermatologist didn't ask. But I don't think a dermatologist thinks that they're going to ask a grown woman how often they shampoo their hair, because especially if you're a dermatologist and you aren't the same color and you're a black woman, they cannot comprehend the concept of going a month without shampooing the hair. So if you don't tell them that, or if you don't tell them that you add oils and butters and you mix them yourself and you put essential oils and you do all of the things to your scalp, if you don't tell them that, there is absolutely no way for them to know. All they can do is tell you what they see after they cut that piece of your skin all out and they go look at it under the petri dish. All they can tell you is like, hey, certain parts of your skin, they aren't getting any blood flow whatsoever. It's not getting any blood flow. We suggest this. This is what you do, because this is the sebaceous gland. This is the first layer of skin. This first layer of skin is inflamed. It has a bacterial infection. And then they tell you all of these things like, okay, you can't use oils anymore and things of that nature. And then they write you a prescription, right? They write you a prescription for something, but then when they write you that prescription, you switch over and you switch to something else because you notice that your scalp is a lot flakier. You're having a lot of dry scalp, and your hair doesn't feel silky and smooth like it normally does. So then you stop taking it. And after all, they're not black, so they wouldn't know. But guess what? You guys don't listen to the black dermatologists either. You don't listen to the black dermatologists either. And the dermatologists that I work with, they're all black. I only work with 2 dermatologists that are not black. The rest of them are black, and y'all don't listen to any of them. Ever. You argue with them, girl, you know we need oil, but you don't. But you really don't. Nothing goes on the human scalp but shampoo unless you are treating an infection. And if you are treating an infection, you have procedures given to you by your dermatologist on the back of the bottle, what to do and what to follow. When you are treating your scalp from something like this is when wigs are okay, as long as you wear them in moderation, because at the end of the day, you have to apply something to the scalp on a daily basis, sometimes twice a day. So you can't have a cute hairstyle while you're treating a scalp infection. It doesn't work like that. The things that go on have to go on under all of those different layers of dead skin is something that will be invisible to the naked eye for a little while. It's not just going to be day 1, day 2, day 3, week 1, week 2, week 3 that you add a product and everything's perfect. You have to remember that a lot of the times the practices that you've been going down have been practices that you've been following for years, decades for some of you, and you want the human hair shaft to automatically look like this when you put oil on your hair, but this is a mental illusion. It doesn't work like that. When you put certain oils, or when you do, what do you call it, the silk amino treatment that everybody's doing now or raging about now, it's something that puts a covering on the hair. But when you put something on the scalp for a treatment, it is only for treatment purposes, because guess what, all you're feeding when you oil your scalp regularly are the microfloral and the scalp's microbiome. That's all you're doing. And that's what you're looking at right now. There is one bacterium that lives on the human scalp called Staphylococcus. I think I said it wrong, but I have a video about it, link in the description box below. But this is what it looks like. And for most people, especially if you've been Team Natural or you follow Team Natural practices, you have this all over the human scalp. So again, when you go in to see a dermatologist, they take a sample of it on your scalp, and then they come in and they give you something to kill this form of yeast. They're killing the yeast. All right. This is the yeast that lives on the scalp, right? This is what it looks like. I'm so serious. Fact check me. And its favorite food is oil. So I want you to know that's why I'm always talking about herbs, because there's a full city of microbiome within the gut. The gut has its own legion of microbiome. That's why I say we work from the inside out, because we have to balance out the gut's microflora for you to be able to produce healthy hair, skin, and nails. Because most of the issues and the problems, the different forms of cancer that happen within the body take place first within the gut through an overgrowth of yeast, bacteria, parasites, and all of the things. That's why my Parapurge is everything. We sold out in 24 hours, you guys. If you let me know in the description box below. If you want, we will go ahead and put it on back order so you guys can go ahead and order it as it's getting ready. You guys know I make all of my extracts by hand, so if they are out of stock, they are being produced, but they sell out super fast. So if you want them on back order, let me know. This is bacteria on the human scalp. So if you went to put oil on it because your scalp is itching, the scalp is itching because there are different forms of bacteria that live on it. So when you put oil on it, babe, all you're doing is feeding this bacteria, causing it to reproduce and colonize on the scalp, making the inflammation worse. While it's colonizing, while things are growing, the scalp may feel better for a moment, but you'll notice that over time you're constantly in the same spot. Because if oil really worked, right? If oil really worked, all you would have to do was use it one time and you would never have to use it again. Because my 7-day challenge works. All they have to do is follow the process for real one time, follow the process, and they never need me again. They can do it all on their own. It's a fact. So it's not enough to just start going online and looking at what the most popular supplement is and purchasing that. No, you need to do a lot more than purchase the world's favorite supplement. You need to start putting those different things into the body, not just simply, blending up fruits and vegetables and putting them in your hair. No, most of the time, if you have a gut problem, a skin problem, you'll also have a hair problem. But guess what? You can fix all of it by putting all of the juice and the stuff and the salad and the avocados and the chipotle burritos and all of the teas and stuff and all of your kombucha and all of that. You can just eat it. You can have a regular regimen that makes it really, really easy for you to take in the things that your body needs. You do not have to play in your kitchen. Oh my God. And tea, keep it in the teacup or in a teapot. It don't go in your hair. Now, if we're talking about extracts, right? If we're talking about extracts, I say over and over again, nothing goes in the scalp unless you're trying to cure an infection. An extract, it may look like an oil visually, but it is not an oil in any way, shape, or form. It dissolves. My extracts dissolve 100% in water. 100%. They are not an oil. So if you're curing an infection, right, and you're put something on the scalp, like one of my extracts that you mix with water, I have a video about it in the description box below. Don't put none of my extracts in your hair until you watch those videos. But if you were to do that, it would be to cure an infection, like a bacteria that is here, right, that is causing something like this. You would mix a couple of drops of it with water, probably about, look at in the description box at the video. I'm not going to tell you here, but you follow what I tell you in that video and in that blog post with a little bit of water in a spray bottle over the scalp, no longer than 15 or 20 minutes, and then you shampoo it out. It is not an oil, so you can't compare you adding oil to your scalp before you shampoo it to adding something that your doctor gives you. Even if it says with some type of oil, it's only a little bit of it. I need you to get into the complexity of herbs, get into the complexity of the human scalp, and really understand your body, really understand herbs, and show true love to yourself and herbs, because you can't really love yourself if you're not spending the time. You won't even stop and give yourself enough time to really learn, right? If you love your curly hair, baby, wear it, but do it in a flexi rod set or in a roller set and see how easy it'll be. Just try it. Most of you guys are ready to attack and ready to argue before you ever try it. And what's crazy is every single time you try it, you're like, oh my God, I'm so mad at myself. Why didn't I do this before? So let's skip all of that. I love you. Everything that I'm saying is coming from love. So when you see me make a video telling you not to put oil in your scalp, go hug your boyfriend. Go hug your husband. Stop getting mad, throwing your phone, girl. It's not that deep. It's really not. Go and meditate. Go drink some tea. I don't know. Go do something. Go do some yoga. Huh? Go eat some Chipotle. They got that new brisket. Oh, do they still got that brisket? Girl, it's good. It's delicious. It'll make you feel good. But I'm going to keep talking about this. And no matter how many women with a microphone get on YouTube and start talking about how great oils and butters and greases are for the human scalp, it will never change the fact that the human body already has something called the sebaceous gland that produces sebum that is attached to the hair before it comes out. So no matter how mad I'm making you right now saying it, no matter how much your favorite YouTuber wants to make a video so angry about what I have to say, it's a verifiable fact. So it makes me feel good. Oh my God, it makes me feel so good, because all you have to do is get a pen and paper, get a notebook, and go ask questions, baby. If you have medical insurance and you can book an appointment with your dermatologist, literally go book an appointment with your dermatologist and ask your dermatologist, does the human scalp need oil and is sebum sufficient enough? Just ask. And then ask your dermatologist, am I feeding my scalp things that are beneficial, putting oils and butters on my scalp, or am I feeding the scalp natural microflora? Just ask. And I guarantee you, they're going to say the same exact thing that I'm saying. So, to end this conversation, right, I want us to talk in the comments. Is this conversation a lot? Was that a lot for you? Let's talk. I want to know, where are you with putting oils in your scalp, and what is this stronghold that you feel, even though you've seen the verifiable fact that you have sebum attached to your hair before it comes out of the pore. So you know that our creator already made a gland within your body that serves no other purpose but making oil, nothing else. So where are you? Are you ready to stop it? I'll play the villain role. It bothers me none. Bye.